Good afternoon, everyone. I, CS Ankita, take this opportunity to welcome you all to the 25th webinar, the Master Knowledge Series, EEE 4.0, Enable, Evaluate, and Excel. Today's webinar is themed on yet another very pivotal topic and one that has only been becoming more and more important with each passing, that is digital forensics and fraud investigation. Dear participants, digital forensics is a branch of forensic science that involves the identification, preservation, extraction, and presentation of data from electronic devices that is legally acceptable. It is often used to investigate cybercrimes and incidents of frauds involving digital platforms. As companies are increasingly relying on digital platforms for communication, data storage, and transactions, the risk of cyber threat and data breach is also substantially. So it is digital forensics which helps us in collection of evidence from computers and mobile devices that is later used to evaluate the intent and scale of fraud. In such a scenario, gaining proficiency in the area of digital forensics can be a powerful asset for us professionals who play a proactive role in safeguarding the interest of our organizations. To delve deeper into the topic, I'd like to welcome our esteemed speaker for the day, Mr. Ivneet Singh, Certified Fraud Examiner and Forensic Expert. I'd like to read out his profile in front of our learned members. Mr. Ivneet Singh has done his BSc Honours in Information Security from Staffordshire University. He's a certified fraud examiner, a certified forensic accounting and fraud examination expert, a certified advanced anti-corruption expert, a certified ethical hacker, and certified cybercrime investigator. He has a vast experience in responding to alleged violations of rules, regulations, and standards of conduct by investigating and recommending the initiation of other investigative procedures. He also has experience in investigating cases along with law enforcement agencies in India on various white-collar crimes. Welcome, sir. I'm sure that the vast experience and expertise of our speaker will prove significantly helpful in the professional journey of our participants, and therefore I request all participants to actively participate in the webinar by posting your relevant queries in the link provided for the same, which would be taken up in the later part of the session. May I now request Mr. Ivneet Singh to please lead the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for the brief introduction and uh, good afternoon to the all audience over here. And I would like to thank Institute of Company Secretary for providing me this opportunity to have a knowledge session today on a really important topic, that is fraud investigations and digital forensics. So let me just share my screen and then we'll start the session. Okay. Okay. So now today's topic is a really important topic for everyone in the audience. These days, digital forensics and fraud investigation has taken a new role in all of the investigation, mainly for the either it is for the law enforcement agencies or for professionals who are working in a company or who are providing the services, even in the auditing services. They do require certain analytics to be done, and there is the huge or I would say an important use of digital forensics. Just since already the brief has been done about the profile, I'll just skip to. So today we will be talking about the fraud investigations and the forensic technology. So based on the past experiences from I have seen that there are typical various common types of frauds or the misconducts that happen in an organization. So for example, there's corruption and kickbacks by corrupted employees, or providing vendor favoritism, doing any kind of fraudulent transactions with the vendors or the third parties, appointing the third parties in an organization to gain monetary benefits, any other kind of funds embezzlement is done, financial frauds are done by the employees. Either they are misusing their authorities, whether there is no maker checker system, available in the finance department. Then they have conflict of interest, where we have seen a lot of employees or the third parties, establishing a parallel businesses, engaging family members at the vendors or the third parties. So these are the very common type of frauds we come across, which have been reported by the whistleblowers or by the complainant in an organization. There are other types of frauds also, but these are just a common few of the examples we have bucketized. Now, an overall approach for an investigation more or less remains the same. The overall approach is that first we need to understand any kind of a background, what exactly has happened, okay, who has done it. Then we approach to the other parties conducting a digital forensics, where to perform and acquire digital devices where a lot of information is stored. It could be a laptop, a desktop, or a mobile phone of an employee. Then there are certain transaction reviews where we ask companies to provide us the ledgers of the parties, the documents, the onboarding documents. And then certain kind of profilings and market intelligence is also done based on the previous data which has been captured during digital forensics and transaction reviews. And then perform some analysis on the profiling, looking at the spent analysis. Based on all these activities, then conduct the interviews to corroborate the facts. The interviews could be conducted with the employees as well as with the vendors to corroborate the facts, that what how the fraud has taken place, what was the modus operandi, and also calculate what is the damage to a company and what is the financial loss to the company. So this is just a standard approach and methodology for any kind of investigation which has been reported by the whistleblower or any of the complainant in an organization. The main topic over here today, we are going to talk about forensic technology. Okay. Now, forensic technology comprises of various any kind of various type of digital devices. I would say today these devices are really important for us. The first would be computer forensics. So, in computer forensics, we will have laptops, desktops, servers, or any kind of portable devices, which could be a pen drive, a hard drive, a CD drive, which has a capacity to store an information or transfer the information. Then we come to emails and social media forensics. These days, emails are very important thing. We have seen people use a lot of emails. Either they are using their official email IDs or they are using the personal email IDs also to for the communications, like using Gmail, Yahoo, or maybe sometimes they also use social media. So one is the other part is email and social media forensics. The third part is mobile phone forensics. Very very important point over here. These days, we have seen that the evidence which we try to investigate the fraud, the type of evidence we are looking for in an investigation, there are more high chances to get such kind of evidences from mobile phones, importantly from the images stored in the phone or from the WhatsApp messages exchanged between two suspects, and all the activities, because these days anything you can do on a laptop is the same thing that you can do on a mobile phone. They are equally powerful. Then we have cloud forensics. In cloud forensics, these days people use a lot of Apple clouds. They use Dropbox, they use Google Drive, OneDrive. Lot of data they try to store on the cloud. So there are specific procedures which has to be followed in order to take that data and analyze, extract that data, acquire that data, extract that data, and then also to analyze that data. Typically, cloud forensics cases comes into the picture where we have employees who have uh, involved in any kind of data leakage or data theft cases, where company is suspecting someone who that this employee might have taken my data out of the system. And then we have an expert witness. So basically an expert witness is something that sometimes an examiner is required in a court to you know elaborate or to testify the facts which have been found. So since this is a technical area, sometimes you may require to be presented as an expert witness also in the court if the matter is into a litigation to testify. Now in further slides, we will be discussing all these areas in detail. Okay. Coming to the digital forensics. So three A's of digital forensics: acquire, authenticate, analyze. So in acquisition, the evidence should be acquired without any modification. This is a very important point we need to remember. Authenticate, evidence should be same as originally seized evidence. No alteration should be done in the evidence. So I'll give an example over here. I'll try to explain this. So if you are investigating a case where you have a mobile phone, or I would say where you have a laptop, where you see that there could be a potential it could be a potential evidence, there could be a potential information inside the hard drives or inside the mobile phone. Number one is we need to ensure that we acquire that evidence without any modification. We need to ensure that the integrity of this evidence is maintained. We don't make any kind of change or alteration on the original evidence. So there is a procedure, there are certain tools which help to achieve these all these areas which I have mentioned. So it says never perform the examination on the original media. A forensic copy should be created. Always use a new media if available. Make sure that data is not compromised and integrity should be maintained. And in case there is any change in an evidence, you can always document that change while doing an acquisition. So I think this is the basic thumb rule of digital forensics, that we don't perform any kind of examination on the original devices. We always try to create an image or a forensic copy of an original device, then keep back the original device till the case is finished and work on the forensic copy. Now we're talking about a digital forensic approach. Like for investigation, I have mentioned there is a an approach how we should investigate any kind of matter. Similarly, in digital forensics we have an approach. The following image provides a process for conducting investigations involving digital forensics. Although there are several definitions and different schools of thought for investigating involving devices, but particularly in this field will agree that typically the below mentioned phases which I have mentioned here are followed in any of the digital forensic investigation: planning, seizing, imaging, processing, analyzing, reporting, and testifying. Coming to the planning phase. Before seizing any evidence, we must take certain steps to help ensure that the evidence will be admissible, such as privacy interest involving legal orders, ensuring all equipment used in a forensic capacity is legitimate and reliable. Now, what exactly this planning stage? I like to elaborate also over here. conducting a digital forensic sometimes helps, sometimes there are cases where you need to capture the evidences, and your client is willing to go and take a legal action against the employee or a third party who has been involved in a fraud. Now we need to ensure that we follow the forensic procedures which are admissible in the court of law. Okay, there has to be proper planning done before doing any kind of seizure of an evidence. Okay, because in future, if this case goes into a legal battle, there will be certain questions asked on the procedures also. Okay, the second stage is seizure. The most critical step in a forensic process is how data is collected or acquired. We also need to ensure that all the relevant evidence is seized and secured in a forensically sound manner so that evidence is not tainted or destroyed. I have seen various cases where you know client or the employees of the client or the IT team of the client has taken mishandled the devices. They have taken a very casual approach while handing over the devices. They have kept devices in such a place where it can be easily damaged. Okay, we need to ensure that we don't do any of these. We need to educate people that, or to our clients, that we don't do such kind of practice. We need to ensure that we follow the procedures before seizing the devices. Number one is examine and document the machine surroundings. So let's say if we have a desktop over there, we first of all click certain photographs of our desktop, then any kind of documents which are kept over there nearby. It might contain certain passwords or certain login information or something which might be helpful to us. And in case the computer is off, let's not turn it on, leave it off. Okay, turning on a computer can change the date and time. It can change the information about the registry information. So we need to ensure that it is in the same state. And in case the computer is turned on, there is a procedure to do live forensics also, or a live acquisition also, where you can acquire the data from the machine in a live state. Once the acquisition is completed, we need to secure the evidence and then document the collection process. We'll come further explain all of these five steps in the further slides. Confiscating storage media. Now, these days there are a lot of storage medias available. It could be CDs, it could be floppy drives, hard drives, USB drives, microchips. Floppies are no longer used, it's an outdated, but other devices are still in the market which are used. But I would like to throw some light on other areas also where you can look for a critical information. Let's say if I talk about a printer, this size printer having a inbuilt hard drive. Now this kind of printer with a hard drive can easily store hundreds and thousands of documents which are either been printed, either been scanned, faxed, or emailed. The simple procedure is to just open the printer, take out the hard drive, and you can see what all information is available. So, in large organizations, usually in India, people what they do, they rent the machines from a service provider and they use it in their offices. They have a lot of confidential data which on a regular business purposes they do regular copies, printouts, emails, fax, scanning is done. But all that information they are not aware that has been stored inside a hard drive. So the moment your lease or your machine is damaged or there's some kind of technical issue, the service provider will either come or replace the machine. But the machine which has been replaced, the older machine also carries lot of your confidential data along with you. In coming slide, I'll play a video which you can easily see that how easy it was to get a machine from a service provider and what kind of information forensically they were able to capture.
A warehouse in New Jersey filled with 6,000 used copy machines, ready to be sold. And almost every one of them holds a secret. That's it.
That's the hard drive.
Nearly every digital copier built since 2002 contains one of these, a hard drive. Like the one on your personal computer, it stores an image of every document scanned, copied, or emailed by the machine. In the process, turning an office staple into a digital time bomb, packed with highly personal or sensitive data.
We might find as many as 20,000 documents on it.
If you're in the identity theft business, this has got to be some kind of pot of gold.
Social security numbers, birth certificates, bank records, income tax forms. That information I would think would be very valuable.
John Junton and Sacramento-based company Digital Copier Security develops software that can scrub all the data on hard drives. He's been trying to warn people about the potential risk with no luck.
Nobody wants to step up and say, we see the problem, we need to solve it.
So we went with Junton into this warehouse, one of 25 across the country, to see how hard it would be to buy a used copier loaded with documents. Turns out, it's pretty easy.
I get equipment in all day, every single day.
Junton picked 4 machines based on price and the number of pages printed. In less than 2 hours, his selections were packed and loaded onto a truck. The cost? About $300 each.
Come on back.
Until we unpacked and plugged them in, we had no idea where the copiers came from or what we'd find. We didn't even have to wait for the first one to warm up.
We've got some documents here on the glass. This machine came from the city of Buffalo, New York, Police Sex Crimes Division. This machine has 249,000 copies on it, total copies. Prints has 42,000 prints on it. It's also used as a fax machine.
It took Junton about 30 minutes to pull the hard drives out of the copiers. Then, using a forensic software program available free on the internet, he ran a scan, downloading tens of thousands of documents in less than 12 hours. The results were stunning. From the sex crimes unit, detailed domestic violence complaints, and a list of wanted sex offenders. On a second machine from the Buffalo PD narcotics unit, we found a list of targets in a major drug raid. The third machine from a New York construction company spit out design plans for a building near Ground Zero in Manhattan. 95 pages of pay stubs with names, addresses, and social security numbers, and $40,000 in copied checks. But it wasn't until we hit print on the fourth machine from a New York insurance company that we obtained the most disturbing documents. 300 pages of individual medical records, everything from drug prescriptions to blood test results to a cancer diagnosis.
So now in this video, you can clearly see that how easy it is to fetch an information out of a hard drive which is available in the printers. So there has to be a certain awareness to the audience or the people where you have been working or to the surroundings that we need to ensure that whenever we give back such machines, and in case those machines have an internal hard drive, we need to wipe out all the data from those hard drives. Apart from that, this video will also help you to understand that this is somewhere you can also find a important document. Sometimes we have seen in some of the audits, forensic audits, where we have people who have been normed in such cooperative, and they we don't find much of the data. In few of the cases we have seen where we were able to cull out the information from the hard drives which were available in the printers. Now, the easiest way to check whether your printers have these hard drives is just type in model number on Google it up, and you will be able to find whether it comes with a hard drive or not. Okay. Going next topic. Let's say once we have identified, okay, a hard drive or a mobile phone that has to be imaged, there are a lot of words which are used in the market saying, okay, either it's a copy paste of data. You say that you don't work on original media. What is a disk cloning and what is a disk imaging? What is the difference between all these three terms? Now, for example, I have a hard drive. Okay, so this is a hard drive, and it's a 1 terabyte hard drive, and I need to, this is an original hard drive, and I need to investigate what is inside the hard drive. The first thing, I let me just clear all this giving by an example. One is that you do a copy paste. So copy is Control C, Control V. In copy and paste commands, you will be only able to copy the data which is visible to you. You won't be able to copy the data which is either hidden or which is deleted from the system or a hard drive. So in a forensic procedure, we don't do copy paste. Then coming to the next point, disk cloning, or I would say let me jointly explain you what is disk cloning and disk imaging. Now, if this is the hard drive which I need to image or clone, I will use a forensic software or a hardware to do the imaging or cloning of the hard drive. Now, what is the difference between copy paste versus cloning and imaging? The cloning or imaging of a hard drive is bit by bit copy, including the empty space, including the boot records. Okay. So, irrespective whether this hard drive has 100 GB data or it has a 10 GB data, the procedure for disk cloning or disk imaging will be that it will be conducting a image of entire 1 terabyte, including the empty space. Now, to do a disk, the major difference between disk cloning and disk imaging is once you both number one is both are admissible in the court of law. Okay. Disk imaging and disk cloning. For disk imaging, you need a proprietary tool to image, and it cannot be altered because it is into a proprietary format. Whereas in disk cloning, you create a clone of a disk which you can easily view the content and the data without using any forensic software or any proprietary tool. But the challenge with the disk cloning is that, let's say you have cloned a disk and you had opened an Excel file or a PDF file. So what is going to happen is that the metadata of the files will be changed. Now, changing these metadata will also lead to tampering of data or modification of data. This will also raise a question in the admissibility. So most of the time, I would say 95% of the time, in a forensic procedure, we do a disk imaging. In a disk imaging, then we further extract the data out of the image for the review. Okay. It is preferred, for example, in a laptop, if you have a 500 GB hard drive, it is always preferred to have on the other side 1 terabyte of hard drive or the bigger size hard drive to do a disk imaging, because it will also helps you to the since the entire size is gonna get imaged, it there are chances that your entire hard drive may get full or corrupted. So it is always advisable to use a more size of the hard drive in the destination drive as compared to the source. Now, what exactly is a forensic imaging or an acquisition? Imaging refers to the process whereby a forensic image of a hard drive or the digital media is made or imaged to another hard drive or other media for forensic analysis. A forensic image is also called a forensic copy, mirror image, or a ghost image. Is a duplicate or exact copy of a hard drive or the digital media. So, during the imaging process, those responsible should use some type of write blocking device or an application to ensure that no information is written on the original drive. After the drive is duplicated, they must move the original drive to secure locations to prevent any kind of tampering. Now, if you see this image, this is the source hard drive. It has been taken out from, I would say, a desktop. This black color box is a forensic duplicator, which also works as a write blocking device. So the main first purpose is that to ensure that these devices on the left side is blocked, means nothing could be written on this hard drive, not even a single bit or a byte. The other is using this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make two images. One is a master copy and one is a working copy. I'll create two image of the source hard drive into the destination hard drive. The entire procedure is done by this forensic duplicator. Okay. There are multiple devices, there are multiple OEMs available in the market other than Tableau, which gives equivalent results. Okay, we'll discuss the type of tools which are used in acquisition and what are the tools which are used for analysis. But the main purpose to use this tool is to maintain the integrity of the source hard drive. Now, let's say if you have not used this duplicator, what is going to happen? I'll give you a simple example. Let's say if you have a USB drive and you directly plug that drive into your computer, what happens is you get a pop-up with the list of file names and everything which is available in the hard drive. Okay. Oh, sorry, in the pen drive. And in case that your pen drive is infected with any kind of virus, or let's say there is a Word file or an Excel file which is infected with a virus, your antivirus is what is going to do, it is going to scan that hard drive or so the pen drive and automatically delete that file from your pen drive also. Now what happened is that file has been deleted from the source, which was your evidence. Okay, and then the evidence is also considered as tampered evidence. So we need to ensure that whenever we are conducting a forensic image or we are making a clone, we need to ensure that we use the right blocking devices. Now, let's talk more about acquisition or the imaging. So, one is forensic imaging, we have discussed forensic cloning, acquisitions, live acquisitions, cloud acquisitions, and forensic data backups. So these are all kind of different terms, different kind of activities, I would say, which is a part in an acquisition. These are the largely used tools which are used for the acquisition purposes, like Tableau Write Blocker, Tableau TX1, TD2U. So these are the versions of a tools from Tableau. On the right side, these are the softwares: Access Data, Encase, and Paladin. These are the basically softwares which help us to do the imaging. For MacBook, there is a separate set of tools which are used to do acquisition. The tool name is digital inspector from Celebrite, which is used to acquire MacBooks. Okay. For cloud acquisition, there's a separate tool for a cloud acquisition, which is the most largely used tool for the cloud data acquisition is Magnet Exam. Okay. For live acquisitions, most commonly used is Access Data Forensic Imager or NCIS Portable Forensic Imagers. Over here, you will see these are examples of the photographs of some of the devices which are used for forensic acquisition or the imaging. So these devices comes in the hard case bound to prevent any kind of the damage while traveling. Usually a 500 GB SATA hard drive would easily take 2.5 to 3.5 hours to complete the imaging process. And in case we have a SSD drive which is much faster than a SATA drive, it will easily take 1.5 to 2.5 hours to complete the entire, including the verification process. Any forensic lab who does acquisition or imaging of a digital devices would surely have these set of tools, because these are the tools which are largely used not only by the forensic expert but across all law enforcement agencies in India and outside India. Images created using these tools are also admissible in the court of law. Now we'll speak about what is the process of conducting a forensic image. Okay, so understand the need of conducting the image. Select the acquisition method. So there are various methods to do the forensic image. The destination hard drive should be wiped properly before copying the image into it. Verify if the write protection is working or not. Start data acquisition process. Once the acquisition is completed, verify it. Keep the original evidence in safe custody and document the entire process. So the acquisition can be done using, as I said earlier, using a hardware-based tool also and a software-based tool also. Preferably, people do a hardware-based tool imaging, where they take the hard drives out of the systems from the desktops or the laptops or any kind of external hard drives which are there to be imaged or a pen drives. And there's an entire toolkit to which they will attach the source and destination, and the image will be made. Now coming to the collection of evidence. Here you will see that I have taken a photograph of a hard drive. This is how basically we take the photograph of the evidences where while doing any kind of the imaging. And also sometimes we make a photo a videographic evidence also about how the hard drive was removed and of the laptop case was opened. So these kind of evidences are to be kept as a part of evidence collection procedure. Okay. So right now what a technician is trying to do is he's trying to remove the hard drive from the back panel of a laptop. Now this hard drive will be further imaged using a write blocker. Okay. You can see you can see that the hard drives have been getting removed. Let me just go further. Yeah. So over here we can clearly see the serial number of a hard drive. Okay, what is the serial number of a hard drive? What is the size of a hard drive? What is the make of a hard drive? All this information is available on the panel of the hard drive. So a documentary evidences are really important to be maintained every time when we do the acquisition. Going next. So once my hard drive has been removed, you can see that this is an actual photograph which was taken where we have attached that hard drive on a write blocker. Okay, and on the write blocker, and then the image is happening. Now if you can see, the destination is attached over here at the bottom. It's a USB external hard drive. You're not able to see the entire hard drive, but so this is the source, this is the destination, and this is the entire forensic duplicator which is used to create an image of this hard drive into this hard drive. Okay. So once the image, so we have done the evidence collection, we have performed the forensic image using a write blocker. This is a very important part, maintaining a chain of custody. Chain of custody is a very important document which reflects the trail of evidences traveled during the investigation. This form is used by most of the law enforcement agencies and is also accepted in the court of law. The chain of custody form contains the following information: description about the evidence, date and time when the evidence was collected, who is the custodian of the evidence, and where is the evidence transferred or stored. So these are the important points that should be bare minimum covered in any of the chain of custody form. Now the chain of custody form can be in various templates, or it could be designed really well or bad, or it could be a plain sheet which contains this information. On the left side, if you see, this is a sample screen, snip of a chain of custody form where it is in the case number. What was the reason to create a forensic image of an internal hard drive of a laptop? Address from where it was taken was XRY Consulting KG Marg, and it was obtained on February 8, 2016. Number 8 is item Exhibit 1 laptop Dell, model number, serial number. Now asset number is something, if it is available or written on a laptop, you may write. Okay, what were the actions taken, and then description. So if you see hard drive make, model, firmware, what is the capacity, so all these technical details don't have to type in manually, they are available once you have completed that image. I'll show you that also. Over here it says that this laptop belongs to Mr. Sinha, he's a general manager of this company. The laptop cover was opened to remove the internal hard drive to make a forensic image using this duplicator. Once the forensic image was completed, 3 copies of the destination hard drive were made on a separate hard drive. So let's say I have a original hard drive. This is the original hard drive which I need to image. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create one image of this hard drive. Keep this in a safe custody. Don't use it until the case is finished. Now on the image hard drive also, I'll create another copy of an image hard drive. So I'll have two image hard drives. One is a master copy and one is a working copy. The master copy, I'll keep it aside in case my working copy gets damaged. Since hard drives are really volatile in nature, there could be any kind of mishappening or mishandling due to which the data or a hard drive can get destroyed. And sometimes you don't get a second chance to re-image the entire device or an evidence. So it is always recommended that we create two copies of the image. One is the working copy and one is the master copy. Also in the chain of custody form, it has to mention that from who has released the laptop, to whom it has been given, what was the purpose for which the laptop was taken. So over here in a template, we can see Mr. Abhishek from XRY Consulting has handed over a laptop to Ivneet Singh for creating a forensic image. Further, Ivneet Singh has returned back to Abhishek after creating an image, and so on the case chain of custody form is maintained. Okay. In any chain of custody form, if you see at the bottom, there is mention called calculated hash values of an image. If you see at the bottom, it is called MD5 hash and SHA1 hash. So what are these values? Basically, these are the values which have been created. So hash values are for the image which we have created. Now I'll explain you what is the hash value. Okay. A hash algorithm utility is used to create a binary or a hexadecimal unique number. The hash value can be calculated for a single file or the entire drive. A unique number which is generated using a hash algorithm is also known as a digital fingerprint. Two files have same hash value, then they are 100% identical. Very important point, two files who have same hash value are known as 100% identical. So let me just explain you how the hash value works. So this is a tool called Hash My Files. It's a free tool I have downloaded for today's class. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two files over here. Okay. Just a second. Let me do one thing. So if you see here, this is my profile. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'll open the software. I'll make another copy of this file. Okay. First, what I'll do is I'll put this file. If you see that there is a hash value generated for this file MD5. So MD5, SHA1, SHA, CRC32, these are basically type of algorithms. Okay. Now what I did was I just dragged and dropped this file. It created a hash value of this file. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to again drag this file here. Since there was no change, you can see the hash values are exactly the same. There is no change in a hash value at all. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'll open main file. uh, I'll just I'll just enter a space over here, save this file, go back. Okay, so this is a file where I have made the change. This was the original file. Now you can see the entire hash value has been changed. That means these two files are not identical. Okay, usually, a common person will say, okay, two files with the same size, with the same date, with the same name, or maybe while opening those two files, the content might look, same. But in forensics, we only say these files are identical if their hash values are matching. Okay, now you can see the hash value has been changed of both the files. Let me remove this file and go back to the same file and try to delete the space bar and again do the same activity. Still, the hash value has been changed. So any kind of modification in a file, the entire hash value will change. The smallest to smallest modification will change the entire hash value. Okay. So this is a tool whose name is Hash My Files. You can easily download from internet. It's a free tool. So this is basically the concept of file hashing. That's why it is said it's a unique number which is generated using a hash algorithm known as a digital fingerprints. Like two different people cannot have same fingerprints. Similarly, two files with different type of contents cannot have same hash values. Now the question comes is, why do we need to calculate a hash value over here while doing a forensic image? Let me explain you with an example. Okay. So let's say that you are investigating a case where you have taken the laptop of a finance head. Okay. And in the laptop, what you did was you followed the forensic procedure. You created the forensic image, you took the photographs, you created the chain of custody. Okay, you have written all this content in the form. Okay, and during the analysis you found that he has done the embezzlement of funds, where while doing the final approval he was the one who has changed the bank account details before making any such kind of payment. Or maybe I would say you found a perfect file which talks about this information. Okay, now you presented this to the management and said that we found a file which talks about all this thing and this is his modus operandi. Client says, okay, we'll go ahead and file an FIR against this person for the embezzlement of funds or the misconduct which he has done. Now what next is that admission from the suspect. Let's say the finance head denies that this file does not belongs to him, or he has not created this file, or he has never seen, or he is never aware of such kind of file being available in his system. So basically he is trying to deny these facts and say that this file was planted by the investigator itself or by the client who has given them the assignment. Now the hash value comes into the picture. How? The reason why I told that the original evidence, once you have imaged the original evidence, it should be kept unused. So what I'm gonna do is, technically, I'm going to go back to the original evidence, calculate the hash value of that original evidence, and compare with the hash value of the image file which I have created. If the hash values are matching, that means there was no change done while conducting a forensic image. So the file was indeed available in the system. So that's why it becomes important to create the hash values. Here you can see the same duplicator which I've shown here is showing the hash values for the image file MD5 and SHA1 hash, and total time it took to complete the imaging process was 2 hours 46 minutes. It would be a 500 GB hard drive. And the speed of this forensic duplicator is around 7.4 gigabytes per minute, which is quite faster than a normal, copy paste that we do in the routine. So now, once we have, completed the entire forensic procedure, what is next we do? Okay, so let me show you how the image looks like after we have, so once we have created an image, this is something the entire image will look like. It is .e01, .e02. So this is NK's proprietary format. Using that hardware device, we created an image. The entire image size was approx 60 GB. This image we have created for a test purposes. Okay. And if I go to the log, from the log, I can clearly see. Let me explain you what this log talks about. Task was disk duplication. We started the task on February 19th, morning 11/10/2022, and the image was completed within 1.5 hours approx on 19th February 12:34. Total time taken 1 hour 24 minutes. This is a username and examiner name. The total case ID was WD Western Digital is the make of a hard drive, 500 GB hard drive. What was the tool used? TX1. This is the serial number of that hardware which I have shown you in a photograph, and this is the version that was used. Okay. Now, this is the information about the source disk. Source disk means the disk which you have imaged. So this disk basically had two partitions, partition 1 and partition 2. These are the technical details of partition 1 and partition 2. And this is the model number and the serial number of the hard drive. So this information automatically gets captured once you have completed the imaging process. If you see, this is the entire, information which was used over here. Just need to open the log and paste the log over here. Okay. Now this is basically the information about the destination hard drive in which we have made the image. What was the serial number of the hard drive where we have done the image? Then it talks about over here acquisition. This is the hash value which was generated. Okay. So this is the entire log. So this log comes with the entire this hard drive image. So now the question comes is how do we basically open this file? We are not able to view the content of this file. So there are forensic tools to see the content inside those files also. Okay. Right now we were at the stage of forensic imaging. By now we have completed the forensic imaging process. Okay. Now coming to the point called extraction and analysis. Now this is the second stage where the image was done. Now we need to extract the data and perform the analysis on that data. Okay. Now to do extractions, what kind of data we try to extract from a system is the deleted files, the actual files, the emails, the registry information, internet artifacts, system artifacts, database. So it purely depends upon the type of case you're working on and what kind of information you would like to extract and analyze. Sorry. Okay. Below mentioned are few of the tools which are largely used worldwide to do any kind of extraction or analysis. Now, coming to extraction and analysis, sometimes fraud examiner may require to use different tools based on specialization of each tool, as multiple type of analysis are performed based on the type of case we are investigating. Okay. As I mentioned earlier also, it purely depends upon an investigator what kind of tools he wants to use based on the what kind of output he's looking and what kind of the case background he has in the hand. Usually, the analysis contains data recovery, internet artifacts, registry analysis, email file analysis, link analysis, mobile phone forensics, and cloud forensics. Okay. Over here, you see a screenshot at the first image. So this is an image of a tool called Entela. This is used for data analytics. At the bottom, you are looking at a tool which is called Internet Evidence Finder to try to find out the evidences from the your Google Chrome or from any kind of activities which has been done over an internet in the system. Okay. Now it has a capability to call out chats from various messaging devices which were used, web histories, and social media platforms. Okay. Now, below mentioned are the commonly used tools to perform digital forensic procedures, which includes review of electronically stored information, commonly known as ESI. So you will, if you are into this domain, you will very commonly come across a term called ESI. Basically it's known as electronically stored information. Okay. Now I'm going to show you few tools which we use during the which we use in an investigation. So as I told you that we are using a tool named as Entela. Okay. So what I have done is I have created a case for today's session. This is Entela software which we use for analysis, and this tool has a very good capability to, analyze the data sets. Now going to the insights. So basically I had total data with me, which was approx. Okay, in a system there were approx 1,41,738 files. So on an average in one laptop, you will easily get almost 1.5 to 2.5 lakh files depending about the usage of a user. Okay. Now for us, it is very difficult to manually go through each and file, open each and every file and try to find the information pertaining to the case. Okay. Going to the insights now, this gives you a complete, I would say, summary of number of documents which are available, how many presentation files are available, how many media files are available in the system. Okay, plus how many email messages are there available, how many calendar invites are there. So you'll get all this information as a summary over here. Okay, here the best part about doing the analysis is, right now we can see that there are 1,41,738 files available with us, which we really wanted to review. Since I told you earlier also, if two files have a same hash value, they will be considered as the same file. So what I'm going to do is, number one is I'm going to remove all the duplicates based out of hash values. I'm going to press deduplicate over here. You can easily see that out of 1,41,000 files, almost 1 lakh files have been eliminated out. Now I have to review only 50,000 files. But reviewing 50,000 files is also a bit of a task. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, let's say I have to search for maybe a bank account number or something like this. What I'm going to type is bank. So it shows that there are total 73 files with the name bank. Okay. And then I deduplicate it. It says you are left with 57 files. So this is basically all the files which has a keyword called bank. Okay. Now I'm looking for a bank, maybe with a particular bank, HDFC. Now it shows that there are 12 files which has the word called HDFC plus bank. So most likely this is going to be the bank statement. This file is a bank statement. I won't be opening this file right now. Okay. Then if we are looking for something called cash, there are 46 files with the word cash, funds. So how easily from 1,41,000 files I have narrowed down myself to only 9 files with the word called funds and cash. So this is how, more effectively how basically you can do the review of the data using a forensic tools. Okay. Now I would like to search for something called approval. Okay. For payment of voucher. So okay, let's see the results over here. So for approval, we had 69 files. Okay. Then for the payment, we had these files. Then for voucher, we had these files. And there is one file which has all these three keywords: approval, payment, and voucher. Within fraction of seconds, or maybe less than a minute, we were able to narrow down to a certain file. And let's say if this file is an important file, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag this file called payment approval voucher. Similarly, bank, HDFC, IFSC. So it's very common for a bank statement to have an IFSC code. So I can easily see that these two are the bank statements. I'll write SDFC bank statements. Okay. So I have tagged this information for the review. Okay. And let's say I'm looking for a certain file with the specific name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search here file name with the word cash. So there is no file with the name cash payment. Okay. See, I found three files over here with the name payment. Now, these could be important files, payment files. Okay. Sometimes we also look for certain data that we wanted to look for someone from a specific person if he had sent any email or something like this. Okay. Usually what people do is sometimes they get email boxes to review PST files, Outlook files, or email backups. Usually they'll use their Outlook to process or index those files, and then further try to find out the keywords. So let's say I have emails over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to search here email from, or leave it, email to. I want to see if he had sent anything on Gmail. Yes. So these are the emails which this person had sent on a Gmail ID. I can easily tag this Gmail communications. Okay. So now let's say I have done my analysis and then I want to go and see my tags. What I'm going to, I'll go over tags. I can see all my tags over here. I just need to search. Sorry. Yeah, I think I can do this. Let's say I was looking for a HDFC bank statement. I'll search this. You can easily see that out of these, I was able to find two files with a bank statement. Okay, over here. Okay. So this is how basically you can use the tools more effectively. You can try to find certain phone numbers, certain email addresses. Okay, then you can try to find out certain document type, or maybe I'm looking for an Excel file and I want to, investigate only the Excel file, I'll just go to spreadsheets, search. Now I have all the spreadsheets over here. Deduplicate. Now you see that total number of Excel files which ideally I should have done the review on was 1925. Just to remove duplications, I am only left with 16 files. Means my review task, my time has been reduced so much that instead of reviewing thousands of files, I'm just have to review 16 files. Okay. Sometimes also people, they do have, habit to keep their what we say, usernames and passwords. Let me see user. Oh, sorry. This is password. Or maybe a file name with a password. Yes. Here you can see that we have found an Excel file with an ID password and few photographs mentioning OD passwords. Now these could be the passwords of a custodian where, he might have maintained all this information, all his usernames and passwords over here. Okay. So this is only one tool which I'm talking about right now, which is used to conduct only the analysis on the data which has been extracted from the image file. Okay. Now, depending upon a case to case basis, we need to see, sometimes you don't even have to use this tool. Okay. I'll show you another tool also over here. For example, there is a typical case of data leakage. Now, the data leakage or the data breaches, sometimes employees take out the information from one company and try to sell it to another company. Either they'll send it through emails, or they'll try to copy the data from their pen drives, or they'll try to upload the data on the Google Drives or OneDrive or something like this. So, for such kind of cases, we usually try to investigate the registry files, or I would say the system artifacts or the internet artifacts. Now, in order to analyze system artifacts or internet artifacts, there are separate kind of tools that are used to perform such kind of analysis. Okay. Like we have cloud forensics. Okay. This helps in the storage, collection, and processing of the cloud data. One good forensic lab should have an excellent diagnostic capacity to detect and collect the data from the cloud. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a tool, another tool. The tool name is Magnet Exome. Okay. Now, what this tool basically talks about is, the earlier results which you have seen were basically the files which were available inside the system, which were extracted from an image drive: Excel files, Word files, documents, bank statements. This tool is largely used, means you can also do email reviews, you can also do document reviews, but it has a better, I would say, efficient in providing the information which is pertaining to system artifacts or something called web related artifacts. So I'm opening this tool. So let's say Over here, we have a suspicion that this person might have uploaded some data on the cloud. Now, if I click over here, I can easily see that this person has been using Dropbox also, Google Drive also, and OneDrive also to upload the data, because these websites are only used for data uploading. Okay. Then there's also called a SkyDrive from Microsoft. Okay. Then social media. What kind of which links he has visited on what date and what time. We can also go and see what kind of words he has searched on the Google. So let's say the person has searched all these keywords on the Google from the system. Okay. In Google Maps, what has the custodian searched? So he has searched for this airport details, the location. Okay. Then going down, web chats. So he has been using Google Hangouts and Slack. I think this is the company's messenger. He has been mostly using Google Hangouts to do the chats. Coming to the web related, I can see what all documents he has tried to download using a Google Chrome. So these are all the files. Resume, new docs. This he has downloaded from the Google Chrome. And which all websites he has visited, we can see from here. Okay. Then what all bookmarks he has, I can see here. Okay. So these are all the information related to the web activity available. What all audio or video calls he has done using internet artifacts, I can see those calls over here. How many audio files, video files, photographs are available in the system. Also, we can look into the Facebook chats using a messenger, what all chats he has done over here. Coming to documents, so these are all the documents available in his system. These were the similar documents which were looking in Intella software. Like for example, I want to look into PDF files, I want to look into Excel files. I can do sorting from here also. This is important where I can see that what all USB devices were attached to the system. What was the serial number? When did he attached? So there was an Toshiba external USB drive attached to the system on 10th of October 2022 in the morning. Okay. So this is where he has attached, and this is the serial number of the hard drive which he has attached on the system. Okay. From which all phone he has connected, some pictures from the phone. Okay. Some Google Map locations. Which all softwares were installed in the system. This I'll show you. So the network profile basically tells that on which date and which time you had connected to which Wi-Fi. You were connected to which type of network over here. Okay, some people sometimes try to make a hotspot from a Redmi phone or an iPhone. So it gives lot of further details also over here. Okay, how many files are available in the recycle bin? In operating system, when was the system last installed? Let's say this system was last shut down on 10th of October 2022. So since earlier also I've told, so if the system is off, we should leave it off. Now this is the date and time when we conducted the imaging, after this date only. So the date was captured. Okay. So this is basically a tool which is used largely to, investigate or try to find out information from system artifacts, from internet artifacts, also to see the timeline on which date or what time the person has done what activity. Okay, now if I go to a timeline, I've just clicked on a timeline. I'm trying to build a timeline. Now, this timeline will also tell me if I want to see that on particular date or particular time or particular hour, what activity was done, was going on the system during that date or time. I can also narrow down my investigation to that particular area. If let's say an incident has happened or someone has made a fraudulent payment of 5 lakh rupees from a company's current account, either ideally it should have gone to a third party which was gone to one of the personal's account. I can see that whether this person has done the transaction or not from the system. We just need to go on that specific date and time and see if any such activity was done. Now, building this timeline will take some time. Meanwhile, I'll just go further. We'll come back here also. Now, any kind of data leakage cases or of forensic cases, data theft cases, we can easily see what kind of pen drives the person has attached to the system, what kind of you know websites he has visited, if he has visited any cloud-based applications, what kind of data he's trying to upload on the cloud. Okay, we can see all of the contents using this tool. Going next, what are the challenges faced in the cloud forensic? This is a very important slide. Although information relevant to a fraud examination might be stored in the cloud, conducting digital forensic investigation in a cloud environment presents a lot of challenges, like lack of information accessibility, lack of data control, and preserving chain of custody. The biggest challenge we face is sometimes users they deny giving us the username and passwords. So without username and password, it becomes really difficult for us to get the data from the cloud. There are ways to get the data from the cloud, but they're not that successful. Okay. The second is, what if the data from the cloud has been deleted? Okay. Now I'll give you a small example of a case where something like this has happened. So there was a company who has taken a fund from an investor for almost 300 crores. Okay. It was an e-commerce based company. Everything was on cloud. They were using Amazon cloud services. They were using Google email services and Google cloud services. Okay. And they were hosting applications on AWS, Amazon Web Services. So once the dispute, the company didn't do well. So at one point of time, what company did was in order to reduce the cost, what they did was they came They reduced their rentals from AWS. They reduced their space and the services or which were they using from Google. And one point of time, they discontinued using Google Drives, AWS clouds, and other cloud services. Okay, so the agreement was terminated. Now, once the investigation started, when the company was not able to pay back certain amount as per the commitment, the we started the investigation. While during the investigation, we noticed that all the data was stored in AWS and on the Google Cloud services. Since the agreement has been terminated and certain period has been passed, there was no way we could have gone back to the service provider and try to gain the access of all that information. So yes, cloud forensics does come with a lot of challenges. Even in computer forensics, we face challenges like full disk encryptions. Sometimes people have their hard drives which are fully encrypted. It is impossible to break the passwords of a fully encrypted disk. It takes lot of time, and there's not much of the success rate. So that is a major challenge. Usually, doing any kind of investigations which are involving any kind of big multinational or a public sector clients, we seek help from an IT to get the passwords for the full disk encryption in order to either decrypt the system or to view the contents which are in the forensic image of an encrypted hard drive. Okay. Now coming back to and still working. Coming back to the next slide, mobile forensics, very important. These days, people use mobile phones for their office purposes also and for the personal purposes also. For acquisition of mobile phones, usually there are logical acquisition and a file system acquisition. The file system acquisition takes much of the time because in the file system acquisition, it will acquire the entire file system of a phone. Okay, and sometimes we do acquisition of only the WhatsApp, internet artifacts, data recovery, database extractions, and also the timeline analysis. The most commonly used tools are UFIT for PC from Celebrite and Oxygen Forensics and Mobile Edit. Uh, Most top tool I would prefer is the UFIT, which has been used by a lot of law enforcement agencies in and across the globe. It's a fantastic tool to acquire any kind of mobile phone forensic devices. They come with the good support. So in mobile forensic, they support mobile device management and e-discovery solutions. In the past, we have noticed that in this domain has helped a lot of fraud examiners in several litigations, creating an efficient discovery workflow followed by a forensic analysis and reports. Now, not spending much of the time on the slide, what I'll do is I'll straight away go to the tool. I'll straight away go to the tool, which is for mobile phone forensics. Yeah. Over here, what you're looking at the interface of Celebrite, the tool which I have mentioned. So we have forensically acquired a phone. The phone was OnePlus. The acquisition was done in December 2023. Okay. Let me just click on generate a preliminary report. It will show the entire content. This of when was, what is the make and model of the phone. Okay, what was the file system that we took, and was there any malware which we found. Okay, now in any of the phones we can easily, let me show you what all data we get from a mobile phone. Going back to home. Okay, so this is the entire phone. So in a phone, we can see what all application or the apps which has been installed, how many calls were made using WhatsApp. I think the report has been generated. Let me open the report. So this is the detailed report of a phone, a mobile phone, which was forensically acquired. Okay. So it comes with lot of technical details over here. Okay. It talks about chipset, make, model, similar kind of thing that we got from using a computer forensics. Similar kind of things we are getting here also. The entire details about the phone. Earlier, we were used to get the details about the laptop or the hard drive which we're doing. Okay. Coming back, what information we can get over here? We can see that there are total 11,045 calls logs. Native are basically the normal calls. These are the WhatsApp calls made. These are the contact details. Okay. Locations. This is basically the device locations where all the phone has traveled, what all locations he has searched. Okay. And sometimes you get locations over a WhatsApp to reach there, or sometimes you share. All these device locations are available here. This is the media, audio, video files. What you see in a red color is these are number of deleted files. So I can see that there are two images which were deleted. Okay. Now coming to the messages, very important. In the messages, we have almost 8,16,523 WhatsApp messages of a person. And these are the instant messages, the normal SMS that we get. What all things the person has searched on the phone or on the website, and what all information he has searched on a phone or a Google Chrome. These are the account related information. So we can easily find out all this information from a mobile phone if we need to further investigate the matter. Okay. Likewise, in a laptop, we have a timeline analysis. We also have a timeline analysis on a mobile phone also. Okay. Going to a timeline analysis, it will also tell us, we can see that in any activity which was done on a particular date or time, I can see that the person has been using this phone for such a long time. And let's say I want to see that what this person has done on 1st October. Okay, apply. I can see that during that time what this person did. Okay, to which all number he had called, what all WhatsApp he had sent, what all data, what all information, or what activity was conducted on that particular date and time. Okay. So this is the entire information we can analyze from a mobile phone. Similarly, what we do in the laptop forensics or a desktop forensics. These days, mobiles come with lot of loaded information, and honestly, reviewing a mobile phone takes much more longer time as compared to, I would say, a laptop. Okay. Going back to the timeline analysis, I think it's still trying to build it. It will take some time. In a mobile phone forensics, we always face certain challenges in a mobile phone forensics. The major challenge that we face are the security patches. Any kind of mobile phone these days can be forensically examined, but for that, we would require a password or a PIN. Without password or a PIN, it is very difficult to get into the phone and start doing any kind of acquisition. Earlier, yes, few years back it was possible, but right now it is not possible because of the security patches in Android phones and the latest updates coming on the Apple phones. It is not possible to get into anyone's mobile phone without using a PIN or a password. If I have to compare in a mobile forensics and Apple versus Android, conducting a mobile forensics on an Android phone is bit tedious. It's a time consuming job. But as compared to Apple phones, if you have all the requisites, usernames, and passwords, I think as compared to Android, conducting a mobile forensics on Apple phone is comparably easy. If we talk about the data deletion, yes, the recovery of data deletion is possible in both the phones, depending upon the size of the phone when was the data deleted. Since the phones have lot of data and every day we delete lot of data, sometimes it is difficult to recover the data from any kind of mobile device because the data gets overwritten very quickly. Okay, so these were for the mobile phone forensics. And if I have to go back on this artifacts, even the tool has a capability to do a mobile phone forensic investigations over here. Not only this, we can also do search files or the folders in this. For example, if I have to search something called bank, I can search here. So basically, this tool, what is trying to do, any kind of you know word bank, either it's in a URL or either it's stored in any file, even in the OCR, anything where they have mentioned as a bank, it will try to find out and pop up the results. Just for the essence of the time, what I'll do is I'll just go to web history. Okay. I think it's trying to build a timeline. That's why it's taking some time. Yeah, no issues. I can try to search in a mobile phone also, or maybe a message on a phone that talks about debits or credits. Instant messages. Yeah. So we can see that there are all the messages which have been, I have put on the filter. There are 54 messages with the word called credit. I can easily corroborate the facts that from which bank account the credits has been made or where he has been, his number has been attached. I can go and look into that. So now, today we have covered the common aspects of mobile forensics, laptop forensics, cloud forensics, as well as about the email forensics. So these are the main common areas that we use in an investigation in order to investigate the fraud. As I said earlier, it purely depends upon a case to case what kind of information you are looking, and you have to choose your tools wisely. One forensic lab is cannot be based on a single tool. There has to be multiple tools which helps everyone to investigate more effectively and more efficiently. Okay, so this was for today of the sessions, as I have kept some time to answer the questions from the moderator. Please post your questions. As a final concluding remarks, I would like to say that I want to emphasize that the digital forensic is no longer just a tool for law enforcement. It has become uh, more of a skill which is more used by the corporate professionals, especially for the company secretaries or the chartered accountants. And the procedures that we had discussed today, from proper evidence collection to maintaining the chain of custody forms or data acquisition, so these are basically the backbone of a credible digital investigation. Also, these methodologies will ensure that the findings that you have in your investigation are reliable and can withstand security scrutiny in the boardrooms, regulatory investigation, and if necessary, in the court of law also. But perhaps the most importantly, what we have learned today is about digital forensic isn't is all about tools and techniques. It is also about enhancing your ability to serve as a guardians for the corporate governance. Okay, and in the type of area we are working in right now, there a single fraudulent electronically transaction happens over a blink of an eye, and this is our responsibility also, our role also as a forensically aware professional. It becomes very crucial for us to be updated on all kind of forensic tools which are available, and also to upscale ourselves to investigate such kind of such kind of cases where the people have misused the technology, or they are trying to find out new trends to any kind of misconducts or any kind of frauds. So thank you very much everyone for your time, and the forum is open for any kind of questions. I'll be happy to answer those questions.
Thank you very much, sir, for those valuable insights into the realm of data forensics. And especially the video which you shared, I think was very relevant and something that we all as individuals should be aware of, considering data privacy being a big challenge these days.
Right.
So, sir, the first question is, you spoke about various tools that are used during the course of investigation. So, how can we as professionals get access to these tools?
Okay, see, honestly, from the background, see, I have worked with a lot of CS, I have worked with a lot of lawyers and chartered accountants. The domain of digital forensic is really a highly technical domain. Okay. Uh, a digital forensics can be a support service on an ongoing investigation. Okay. I seriously for don't recommend anyone, because these tools are really, really expensive tools. You need a relevant, good experience to use those tools more effectively. Like, there are few tools which are easily anyone can use. Likewise, I have shown a tool called Entela. It is just based on keywords you can do and try to investigate, but there are certain tools which are most likely acquisition of devices, acquiring mobile phones, acquiring laptops, acquiring data from clouds. This is a really technical job. The tools are available in the open market, anyone can go and buy those tools, but in the personal interest of everyone, I would suggest ki on an ad hoc basis, whenever you need something, or a support you need, just look for a support on those areas, because digital forensics is a part of, now has become a part of an ongoing investigation. Yes.
So, sir, are there any specific qualifications that we need additionally as company secretaries to get into this field?
Yes, there are certain qualifications and certifications. These certifications are given by these tools OEMs only, so that you become certified using, you have more knowledge of using those tools. These days, using these tools have become really easy also. I have been into this area from past more than 15 years. We have seen those tools where we used to write a program of a half page to get the data recovery, but right now it's a click of a button. The most difficult part in for digital forensic is the acquisition part. I recommend that let's not get into the acquisition, but for analysis, yes, you can definitely do the analysis at your own. There are certain certifications available online and in the market, which will help you to teach more about, give a more practical knowledge about these tools and how you can use these tools in the investigation.
Sir, one of the tools you spoke about was hash. So hash my files. So in that we can know whether a change has been made in the file. So, but can we know what changes have exactly
No,
been?
you won't be able to find what exactly has been changed. You will be only able to find that there was a change in a file.
Okay, sir. Sir, our viewers are mainly company secretaries who are governance and compliance professionals. So they want to know how can we integrate digital forensics into our existing compliance framework? What steps should be taken beforehand, before, so to minimize the incidence of fraud?
So, as I told during my classes also, it purely depends upon what kind of incidents happens in an organization, what kind of incidents you come across. There are so many types of frauds these days which are happening. Okay, which some are financial frauds, some are misconduct, some are favoritisms. So every investigation, every fraud has a different way of investigation. Okay, now in an organization which is an FMCG, or an organization which is an automobile, the type of cases are extremely different. So the person who is from an automobile, who is a company secretary serving an automobile, would have a different kind of problem areas to handle, and someone who is from an FMCG would have different kind of problems to be handled. So I there is no standard tool I can tell you which can help anyone to resolve all the issues. It purely depends upon a case to case basis.
Okay, sir. Sir, what are the primary indicators of any data breach or cyber attack that a company should, and how should a company secretary respond initially?
For a cyber, see, the cyber attack or the data breaches are something which comes under the purview of IT department, okay, or the IT which has been taken care of. For us as a company secretary, there is a procedure for reporting the issues. If you have to either you report an issue to certain, if you have certain obligations to report, there's a computer emergency response team in India where you have to report certain issues pertaining to the cyber attacks which has happened, or any kind of incident which has been reported. If there is certain statutory or a regulatory obligation that has to be met, then you have to report to the authorities.
Okay, sir. Sir, are these electronic signatures that are used, which are not Aadhaar authenticated or any OTP is not received, can they be used as evidence?
So are you talking about the digital signatures or the,
Yes, digital signatures.
if those digital signatures have been verified or validated, then yes, because these days a lot of people are using digital signatures for each and everything. Even for the filing in the ROCs also, they're using those digital signatures. People are using these on the invoices or any kind of transactions. If you are able to validate with a valid certificate, yes.
Sir, how can we ensure the confidentiality of data that is collected during forensic investigation?
uh, a very stringent agreement and an NDA has to be signed. Number one. Number two, once the investigation is completed, a third party has to give in writing a certificate that they don't contain any data and all the data has been either returned back or destroyed.
Okay, sir. Sir, what are the ethical considerations that we should take into account while uh, while monitoring an employee's digital activities? Like there's a fine line between regulation and respecting one's privacy. So, anything that we need to consider?
See, this is a very gray area because we also sometimes face challenges where when we acquire the laptop or we try to take the a mobile phone of a employee, he always has a question that there is a lot of personal data also.
Yes.
Okay, and then there is an official data where he has been communicating with the vendors or with the employees. But there is no such procedure where I can say that I will only partially acquire your data. The data has to be fully acquired. Okay, this is just we also need to ensure that we tell them that we will not use any kind of personal data against you, and also before getting such kind of personal data, we ensure that we get an affidavit or a consent signed by an employee where he gives a submission that he has voluntarily submitted us the data for investigations just to safeguard on our part legally.
Sir, this question is, can practicing company secretaries ask for forensic? They already conduct a secretarial audit of companies. So if they find something suspicious, can they ask for forensic audit, or are there some preset conditions to escalate the matter for the level of forensic audit?
As for regulatory obligations, I'm not sure about. I can't comment on that. But if someone, either a company secretary or a chartered accountant or anyone in the company, if he has found, irrespective of the designation, if he's finding something or is a suspicion that yes, there are some financial irregularities or someone is trying to embezzle funds or any kind of fraud has been committed or ongoing, anyone can get those things validated and checked by any of the independent parties.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So last question, is it mandatory for a company to obtain consent from an employee before imaging official data of the employee for forensic audit?
Okay, now let's say for an employee, the laptop has been provided by a company for an official purposes, to be very honest, okay? And this asset belongs to an employee. A company has no such obligations to take a consent on their official laptops, which has been given to an employee until or unless in few of the organizations they do that. Recently we have started doing it even in the official laptop because of the data privacy issues that came across, which clearly mentions that we have taken the consent and all these areas. So there are instances where employees deny giving any such kind of consent. Then the alternate is that we then get an affidavit signed by the employee that he gives an affidavit of assurance that no such data is available in the mobile phone or the laptop pertaining to any kind of complaints which we are trying to investigate.
Okay, sir. So thank you very much, sir, for addressing those queries. So with this, we come to the conclusion of this webinar. I'd like to thank all the participants for joining us and actively participating in this session. These webinars are also uploaded on the YouTube channel of the Institute, so you can always go back and watch them as per your requirement. And finally, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Ibneet Singh, for delivering such an insightful and comprehensive session. Sir, your expertise and clarity on this complex topic and the way you explained almost every topic with examples and in such simplified terms, it has definitely deepened our level of understanding of the topic, and we are truly grateful for the knowledge that you have shared with us today. Once
Thank
again, thank you, everyone. Keep learning and keep striving for excellence.
Thank you for the kind words, and thank you. I look further for more such sessions, and it was really nice interacting with all of you. And I hope we had some learnings from these sessions. And best of luck, everyone, for the futures. And in case of any queries, just reach out back to me. I'm ready to help any point of time.
Sure,
Okay.
sir.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Bye.